And welcome back on Take Action News with David Shuster, the executive producer, Daniel Marins in the host chair this hour, and we have with us on the phone Lee Fong. He's the author of the new book, The Machine, A Field Guide to the Resurgent Right. He's also an investigative reporting fellow at the Nation Institute. His articles have been featured in many places, including The Nation, most notably. But he's been pretty much, there's no better person out there who's an authority and in terms of reporting on the resurgent right, on the right wing's operations since Obama was first elected in 2008, than Lee Fong. And he's also a personal friend of mine. Lee, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Gary, you're too kind. Thanks for having me.
So, Lee, let's cut right to it. In your book, The Machine, you essentially say you burst a couple of big myths. And you burst the myth, I think it's fair to say, without spoiling anything, the idea that the Tea Party movement that arose is some kind of a spontaneous grassroots movement. But as part of bursting that myth, you also put a magnifying glass on the entire idea of the Tea Party and what it was originally meant to represent. People are under the impression that it was actually a protest against excessive taxation or taxation without representation. But you tell a different story, and I think that it helps shine a light on the broader issue in contemporary times today about what the Tea Party represents and kind of the way they use history. What exactly is that story? What is the real story of the Boston Tea Party before the American Revolution?
Well, I think if you look at the history of the Boston Tea Party and what actually motivated the colonists to, rebel against England and to kind of go and attack these private ships in the harbor of Boston. This happened also in Charleston, Baltimore, and some other cities where you had colonists raiding ships owned by the East India Trading Company and destroying their property as a sign of, or a symbol of rebellion. And, they were doing that because if you look at the rhetoric and the actual grievances written by the colonists back in the day, they were upset in what I think we would now call crony capitalism. They saw that the laws that they were living under were pretty much dictated by the East India Trading Company, which was entwined with the British Crown at the time. Many of the rulers in England were big stockholders in the company, and they were writing laws that said, you can't have these private merchants undercutting the East India Trading Companies, so they're basically banning American competition. And they're putting duties on all types of items to increase their monopoly over the colonists. And if you look at the colonists' rhetoric, they were looking at what was going on in India and all across Asia, and they said, we're just going to be abused and sucked dry like all the other colonies in the British Crown. So it's really interesting history, and a lot of folks have debated it.